I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, January the 3rd, 2025, brought to you in part by Norfenacol by Norbrook. When only speed wins the race on BRD, fill the gap with Norfenacol. Offered exclusively in plastic bottles so you don't have to worry about losing so much due to breakage. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Also, Unionville Livestock Markets in north central Missouri and Creston Livestock Market in south central Iowa. They got some big sales coming up here to start the new year. Unionville Livestock will be having a special calf and yearling sale this Tuesday, the 7th of January. And then having a special bred heifer and bred cow sale Saturday the 11th. So be sure and mark your calendars for those. At Creston, Iowa, they're going to be having a hay sale here today on Friday, the 3rd. They've got a regular feeder cattle and weigh-up cow auction on Friday, the 10th. And then their big special all-vaccinated calf and yearling sale on Wednesday, the 15th. So check out both Unionville Livestock Market and Creston Livestock Market if you're in the need for cattle or looking to market some. Strong out of the gates. I tell you what. We didn't have a whole lot of sales Christmas week. We had a few more New Year's week. We still haven't had a real good test of the market, but what little we've seen has been really strong. And so we're thinking we're just going to pull back up on the main line and give it the gas here to get back into 2025 in regular marketing starting here on Monday. But your fat cattle market has gained leaps and bounds over the 2-week holiday, and the packers haven't bought a whole lot. It's not bothering the feedlots. They're comfortable holding those cattle. They want so many days on them anymore, and they'll take them weighing 18 something. So they're easier to keep feeding than they are to replace. So most of your feedlots are happy just to keep holding the cattle, especially as long as the market's going up. They're not all that efficient at those heavy weights, but they're still probably costing less to put a pound on than what it's worth. But they've gained, fat cattle have gained $3 to $5 live basis over the holidays. They were steady to $3 higher Christmas week, and then mostly $2 higher here on New Year's week. So you don't get an opportunity to gain ground like that, but knocking on the door of $2 a pound. I talked to feeders and private sources. My good contacts up there in Iowa said that there were several cattle feeders that were passing $1.99 live FOB in Iowa. So we're knocking on the door, $2 a pound. You know that the packers don't want to give that. They feel like it'd be a runaway if we started selling cattle over $2. We saw $2 back in June, paid on a few fat cattle, but we never could get the weighted average over that $2. It got up to, I think, close to 197 is the closest it got, as I remember, maybe like 196.90, and we're not quite that high yet here. We may be getting close to that this week, depending on whether we get very much volume in the northern plains. So far it's been pretty much in the southern plains, which is not typical, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the report. But Joplin Regional Stockyards, they absolutely were working full speed over the holidays, guys. They took a little time off there right at Christmas, but then came back strong on Monday, December the 30th there with their Monday feeder cattle auctions plus a special yearling sale. They had 12,500 head on Monday at that yearling special there at Joplin Regional Stockyards on a Monday. About the only sale barn that was having much of a sale at all, and they had a big one. Compared to 2 weeks previous to that, the steers sold $2 to $7 higher. Heifers were a little uneven from $2 lower to $10 higher. Then they came right back around on Thursday after the new year and had a 8,000 head weanback special. And it was just as impressive as the Monday sale, maybe a bit more because those cattle were selling in larger bunches, and they were calves that had been 60 days weaned or more and had 2 rounds of shots on them for the most part, as according to the JRS program special there. But very, very impressive. We're going to talk about some of those prices later. But the 8-weight steers averaged higher than any other sale that they'd had all year. So finished out on an extreme high note there. Really, really good sale there. We've seen our index levels come right back. As I told you on our last visit, our index levels were kind of down because we hadn't had any sales, and they were running on really, really light volume and not the best volume on the ones that were in there. But they came right back up there in the mid 260s now. And I think your traders in Chicago realized that, as your January feeder cattle were up hard on Thursday's sale, or Thursday's session there, up 345, and actually surpassed your index levels. But they've got to settle that January contract this month. They don't want it to get out of sight, and they pretty much know that those index levels are going to keep going. So going up there towards 270, we haven't seen these levels ever before. That's based on an 800-pound cash auction steer there for the most part. But want to talk about a butcher, not one of the big 4 butchers, but a small family-owned butcher. It's Meats by Linz for over 60 years. Linz Heritage Angus has been cutting their own meat and producing their own beef there, and it's been their goal there to put out the best steaks and the best genetics from the best ranchers, sell them to the best steakhouses and to the best consumers there. And they're going to be having a Linz Heritage Angus sale coming up. It's going to be on January the 16th from Byers, Oklahoma there. They've been in it since 1987. That sale is going to be on DVAuction. I'm going to be talking a lot more about that leading up to this sale. But be thinking about that Linz Heritage Angus beef if you want to introduce those kind of genetics to your herd, guys. And of course, as these prices getting up like they are, some of you thinking you've got some stockpiled fescue out there, some guys still wanting to add some wheat cattle. These prices are getting up there. Of course, the board's been going up pretty good too over the holidays. You need to check back in and see what kind of strike price you can get on your LRPs. If you need to talk to somebody about that knows a lot more than we know about it, go to Livestock Risk Services. That's Dakota Moss there, and all these agents that work alongside him there. They are your LRP specialists, and they are licensed in just about every place on the planet that you can be running cattle. You don't have to wait to get their license active. They're ready to go. Just need you to fill out an application, get ready to take out an LRP, and they can fix you up, guys. For more information, go to livestockriskservices.com. Let's talk about your board to kind of end up the week there on Thursday anyway. Your board February live cattle futures are up $2 smooth on the Thursday session at 193.60. That's not going to be as high as what your weighted average is going to be, so they need to be higher. April fat cattle up 177 at 196.05. That's a little bit closer. Your back months were just a little bit uneven there, down $1.15, and that was on the farthest out traded month on really, really light volume. And then all the rest of them closer up or higher, as much as 172 higher. Feeder cattle for January up 345, like I mentioned earlier. That's sitting at 266.47. That's past our index levels, but likely where they're going to be getting close to here as soon as we start selling cattle in a big way here in the next several days. March feeder cattle up 322 at 266.20, and your back months were all up on feeder cattle contracts from 95 cents higher to 297 higher. Talk about your fat cattle trade. Iowa has not traded hardly any fat cattle. Now, Iowa has been selling more cattle in a negotiated manner. This last year, or actually the third quarter of this last year, I noticed that Iowa was up over 52% of their sales were in a negotiated cash manner. They had fallen below 50%, but good to see them back up on more than half of their cattle in a negotiated manner. They've got the best fat cattle on the planet as a whole, and they're selling them in a negotiated cash manner so that whenever they've got the right to have a higher market, they'll have the leverage to get that for themselves, unlike the Southern Plains, as you see them struggle. But all we saw on Thursday was a load of fat cattle sell out of Iowa, and they've only sold 2 loads all week. But that one load brought 197 on Thursday. But like I said, there was 198 offered all over the Midwest for fat cattle, and did hear of some feeders on some really good cattle passing 199 that was bid. So likely going to be some higher prices paid on Friday here. Nebraska has not sold any fed cattle so far this week. They've got leverage too. They want higher prices. Now you get to the Southern Plains. Kansas has sold 3,800, 4,500 for the week. Live prices on Thursday, 195 to mostly 196, and 310 dressed, and that's about $3 higher dressed. Texas sold 1,100 head on Thursday. That's all they'd sold all week. Live prices from 194 to 196. These live prices are $2 to $3 higher in the Southern Plains, and like I said, for the holidays, $3 to $5 higher there. But talk about box beef cutout values. They were down a little bit on Thursday, but they'd been up more so for the week, about $4 or $5 higher for the week. But on Thursday, your choice cuts were $323.48, down 74 cents, and selects were down 29 cents at $294.23. Your slaughter has been running really light, and I think a lot of it is your packers aren't able to get their hands on as many cattle as they would like. Yes, they're not making a lot of money on these cattle. A lot of people will tell you they're losing money. I don't believe that. But, you know, they've had abbreviated schedules with our big holidays landing right in the middle of the week. But still, they're not slaughtering near as many cattle as they would typically. This week up through the first 4 days, including, you know, New Year's Day being off, 350,000. Up to this point on Christmas week, they had slaughtered 275,000. But the same week a year ago, which was also New Year's week, 23,000 less this year than last year. Talk about what else is going on. Green River posts since 1987, guys. You got some patching up to do, some fence to build. You need some good posts there. When you get up around an area that gets kind of crowded, they've got pressure treated southern pine posts with a 25-year warranty against rot. They deliver anywhere in the United States, and that first 200 miles is free. Check them out online for more information at greenriverpost.com. Talk about your feeder cattle markets. Your real-time index on DVAuction late on Thursday, after what few sales had on Thursday had already been completed, sitting at 263.68 based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through your middle 12 states. That is up 379 from the end of last week. So you saw we were running almost completely out of any volume at all, and now we're getting those prices in there where we've sold some cattle real respectively here even through the holidays, and back up to 263.68. Your real-time index that's brought to you through information gathered by USDA, Federal State Market News Service. They haven't covered nearly as many sales as we have through the holidays because their market reporters were off. But it's up to 261.77, but it'll be climbing a big bunch here as soon as we get back to regular marketing. Talk about a sale that I want to give you an update on. Farmington Regional Stockyards in Farmington, Missouri. They're a DVAuction broadcaster there, and Clay Burke sent me a message and said that they were planning on having a special replacement sale on Saturday, and they are expecting weather to come in. and even down there towards the Boot Hill, not into Boot Hill, but down towards the Boot Hill in southeastern Missouri where that sale barn sits. But they are indeed still having the sale. And he said to tell anybody if they want to come by and they're worried about getting them home, he's got people set up to get those cattle to their place, and you can get them taken care of before the weather blows in. We're not sure how bad it's going to be, but got a little front coming in here. But he is having a special replacement sale on Saturday the 4th. Greg Tharp has got 55 fancy replacement heifers in there. And then there's going to be several small dispersals, and they're mostly all commercial black Angus herds, smaller herds there. But good opportunity to buy some replacement stock if you're in that area of southeast Missouri, or if you want to get on to DVAuction.com. They've got a good facility there. They can take care of those cows for you until you can get them out of there. But remember, Farmington Regional Stockyards in Farmington, Missouri. Let's talk about some quotes that sold over the holidays here, mostly since Christmas here. Orland Livestock Commission Yard in Orland, California. They've had a lot of rain there, and their winter grass is excellent for grazing in California. They sold 82 steer calves, weighed 466 for $414. That's a very impressive quote. We're not seeing anything quite that good out here in the middle part of the country right now. Clarinda Livestock Auction in Clarinda, Iowa. They're too a DV auction broadcaster, and they sold 65 big steers, weighed 902 at $260 and a quarter. Thought that was awfully good. How about up in the Northern Plains, Mitchell Livestock Marketing in Mitchell, South Dakota, another DV auction broadcaster. They sold 56 big near beer steers, weighed 1048, and they bring 255. Wow. How about Napoleon, North Dakota Livestock? They're a DV auction broadcaster, fairly new to us, but we're sure glad to have them too. Check out this quote. 90 steers in Napoleon, North Dakota. They weighed 695, just almost 700 pounds at $350. That might be the highest quote that I've seen all year. But the most impressive quote that I've seen in the last 2 weeks, in the last year, in the last 52 years, I've never seen a quote this impressive. May have seen some a little bit higher, but check this quote out. It's your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day. Come out of Joplin Regional Stockyards in Carthage, Missouri. It was on Monday the 30th. It was 1,047 steers in one whack. You think these sale barns are going away or anything like that? They sold nearly 1,050 steers in one draft at Joplin Regional Stockyards. They weighed 842 and bring $264.85, or about $2,230 a head. That one draft brings $2.335 million. Took about 20 seconds for them to sell them. That's your feeder flash for Friday.